Some of the least known techniques and the most frequent error for beginner manga artists is the reading flow. So what does the reading flow mean? Exactly what it says. It is the way how your readers are reading your manga, the path their eyes take as they wander through the page. You can make the journey difficult for them, or you can make it easier. The easier you make it for your readers to get through the page, the less annoyed and confused will the readers be. The readers can get quite unnerved when every page is like a riddle of trying to figure out which panel is read in what order. Optimally, your readers shouldn't even have to think about that. So, how do you influence the reading flow? By paneling, by placing of speech bubbles, by the direction of the movement, by visual cues, and by understanding what is important to your reader. So let's talk about it step by step. The paneling. Optimally, your pages should not have more than 5 panels unless you order them in panel blocks. The more panels there are, the longer the path your reader has to walk in order to get through the page, with lots of twists and turns like a mountain road. The optimal flow is when the eye makes an S route through the page, provided it is the Japanese reading direction. When it is the Western reading direction, it is an inverted S. So keep in mind, the less you chase your reader through the page, the less tiring the whole experience is for the reader of your manga. Speech bubbles. Characters talk a lot, and they think a lot. And every time there is a speech bubble or thought bubble or exposition by the narrator, the eye makes a detour in order to read it. You can either put the speech bubble in the way of the reading flow, supporting it, or you can lead your reader astray by sending them on a goose chase. One of the most common mistakes beginners make is not to plan in the speech bubbles, to do the drawings of the page first and then deciding where to place the dialogue later. Unless you have planned the bubbles accordingly and drawn the drawings to suit it, most often than not, speech bubbles end up at the edge of the panel because you do not want your beautiful drawings to be colored by text, and often the bubbles are too small for the text, ending up looking cramped and crowded. My tip is to plan the text and bubbles in from the beginning. At the same time you do your panel placement, or even before that, decide what you want to tell on that page and set up the reading flow by using your speech bubbles and panels. Direction of movement. The direction of movement can be used to support the reading flow. For instance, in Japanese reading direction, you read from right to left. So you can support that by arranging the movement in the panel to move from right to left. Or if it is a panel on the far left side of the page and the next panel begins on the far right side of the page, you can place the movement of the last panel counter to the reading direction, thus guiding the movement in the direction of the next panel. Same thing on the last panel of the left page. In order to get to the next panel, you have to turn the page so you can make the movement of the last panel go in the direction of the page on the next page. Visual cues. Visual cues refer to the drawing in the panel itself. Takeshi Obata, the artist behind Death Note, Bakuman, and many other amazing series, uses them a lot. He would use the flow of the drawings in the panel to guide the eye from one speech bubble to the next, like the form in the direction of the fence or the movement direction of the character. He would aim the eye at the next panel like a well-aimed arrow. What is important to the reader? Let's imagine the following situation. You are sitting on a train having just purchased a long-anticipated volume of a story that you love. You know that you have to get off the train in 20 minutes and you really want to know what happens. What will you concentrate on? Generally, the readers concentrate on the text in the faces. Readers spend most of the time looking at the faces of the characters as they support or show the emotion behind the text. Less time is spent on the body, unless there is some fan service involved, and even less time is spent on the backgrounds. An average reader spends a fraction of a second on a background, and I'm not saying that these are not important. They are. but in the big picture of a story, most readers will use them as orientation but not even remember them, unless they have a background fetish like I do. They will notice, however, if the backgrounds are notoriously missing or badly executed. So use this knowledge to guide the readers through the page. By making use of the placement of the faces in the direction of glances, you are guiding your readers subconsciously through the page, without them ever knowing it. What they will know, however, is how comfortable of a reading experience your story is. They don't ever need to know that you have manipulated them, so this will be our secret.